Hello everyone. Today I'm just going to talk about what I've achieved till now in writing my new book and just share my journey of how it feels to write and how everything is working out and maybe the struggles and the things that I've noticed till now. So, yeah, I've written 16 pages till now, which is probably 5,000 words. It's not much, but it's been probably 10 days or more than a week since I've started writing, and I write every single day, and the most I write, the least words I write is probably 400 words, but my main goal is 600 words, which I want to hit every single day. So I don't really have anything planned for this video. Like, I have not really anything to talk about, but like anything valuable to talk about, like any kind of tips or any kind of advice for writing. It's just me and my thoughts about writing and experiencing things and applying it to writing. And one thing I've realized is that I also add so much of my own experiences in my books, where I just write like dialogues that I had with, like, a conversations that I had with my parents or with my siblings or with my friends. I just apply it into my book, like into those dialogues. So I just want to make the dialogues as simple, as casual, and as human as possible. So there shouldn't be really, just making it more like exciting and less boring is like just, you know, making your characters speak the way you do. So not really giving them like weird things to say, just not really letting them be real and exciting, but just making the dialogue very boring by giving them those kind of awkward kind of dialogues where they are like saying, like, talking really weird. And that's just whenever I read books where the dialogue is really weird, and that's not how real human beings talk, and it's just not really exciting. Or yeah, it's just not really exciting. It's just very cringe, and having those cringy dialogues and making those characters talk like they were in a, I don't know what scene, even though it's a book and it should be like, it shouldn't be really reality. But if you're like trying to make the whole like book like fiction, then make it fiction like from the beginning on. Not really just not really start like at the middle, but just make it from the beginning where you know that these things are going to be like that. But if you just start in the middle and the dialogues get cringier and cringier, so really make any sense, and it will be very awkward. So, but if you're like trying to write like reality and yeah, those kind of stuff, so then make it on from the beginning and not really come up with different things in the middle. It's very important to know that what you want from this book and what you want really for this whole like story and characters, because just deciding it in the middle will be very confusing for you, and you don't really know what to do about it. So yeah, it's really important to kind of gather memories as someone who writes, or I don't know, like has those kind of stuff going on, like or you know, even like creative jobs. It's very important for, you know, like it's very important for those people to gather thoughts, because or memories, which because they can apply it on their own books and into their own books, and not just imagine. Of course, imagination is something that is really required and something that is like our job, but gathering memories will make it a lot easier because you're having your own like experiences put into books and into your own words. And that's why I've decided I'm gonna, like, you know, once in a while I'm gonna, not once in a while, like I'm trying to go out more in the nature, or just like, you know, gather memories and not just sit there and write, but also once in a while go out and just, you know, share or experience things, because it will help you in the long term. And it will be kind of like a change of mood, and it's not just you being stuck into that one mindset of just writing and being in front of a monitor, being in front of your laptop and just, you know, writing all the time and not really having any sort of change of mood. So those things are very important. One thing I've realized is that there are a lot of like prompts for writing, and most of them I see at Pinterest, and they're really good for like, you know, making your writing skill better. So you just go ahead like writing prompts, and then there will be like a bunch of like little like ideas, and you can go ahead and like write a few pages about it, or just, you know, train your muscle memory of writing. It really helps a lot with that. So the more you kind of train your writing skill, it is better to train your writing skill than write a whole story but not really improve your skill. Of course, you're gonna improve your skill by writing, but if you're not really open to any sort of feedback or criticism and just don't really want to get better, then it's going to be a problem. It's better really to have like little short stories written by you with like some of the ideas that you like, than just like writing a whole story about one specific thing and not really liking it. If that makes any sense. First, I had started with like a book. I had a book in my mind, and then I just wrote about it. But then I kind of stopped and then start again, start again. That was like the whole thing, and I was very confused. I just wanted this book out. I just wanted to finish. During that, I had also started writing little stories, short stories, and they were like not really specifically about something. It was just like little topics that I really liked and enjoyed writing. It was mostly out of nowhere, and yeah, that's just how I started writing, and it really helped me a lot with just getting like training my muscle memory of writing and just getting my skills better. So if that helps you, it will be really good if you just, you know, write and not really think much of it. You're not going to publish it, or you don't have to publish it. You just have to like train your memory. Those stories are going to be just for you. So one of the other things I want to talk about was about researching phase. You know, whenever I have like whenever I start writing a book, I always have that like research phase where I'm just like researching about this whole like story, and about the characters, about the names, about the theme, about the vibe, about the place they live in, and everything about that. And this time I just started writing it without thinking much, and I don't really know if it's bad or if it's good, but just it really helped me, and I think that I think it really helped me to not be like stuck in this research phase and just start writing. Because whenever, like right now, I'm like, you know, researching in the middle of my story, but like I'm writing, I just write, and then there's something like a thought in my mind where I'm like, what should I do with this one, or what should this be like, or, you know, then I just go on like another tab and just research about that specific thing, and yeah, get all of my thoughts out. But I don't really know if it's like helpful, if it's like something good or bad that I didn't really, you know, had like a separate research phase, because there's like phases in writing, you know. Yeah, first is like, you know, preparing the story. That's like, you know, basically researching about it, you know, brainstorming and knowing the general thoughts about the characters, ideas, and, you know, identifying the themes, and just gathering all of those, you know, inspirations. And then for a lot of people, it's just, you know, building your cast and, you know, your characters, finding them, naming them, knowing their personalities, picking their flaws and attributes, establishing key relationships that they have, and all sorts of those kind of stuff. Having like clear character info, and knowing about their fears, about their goals, about their likings, or like having a traumatic past, or just like background story. And then for a lot of, and then it continues with like outlining the whole story, mapping, and knowing the plot of your story, knowing the key events. And then for a lot of people, it's just like drafting and, writing the whole story. So yeah, and then that, like, writing the whole story is just like, yeah, writing. But then afterwards it's just editing and, the grammar mistake and the word choice and the style and the plot holes, whatever. So, that's just how for a lot of people, writing. For me, this time, this whole thing was completely different because I started with writing the whole story. Like, instead of researching about like the characters, about the flaws whatsoever, I just wrote the whole story down, whatever I wanted. And then I, like, in the middle, I'm kind of like going and researching, coming back, mapping out, analyzing, visualizing stuff and kind of doing those kind of things. I think for everybody it's kind of different, but for me this time it really worked. The story that I quit last time, there I was just like doing this whole, like, writing stages, and it didn't really work out for me. But it's like different for you maybe. So yeah. A habit that I have, whenever I think of a good story, a good like idea that I get into my mind, I just write it down and I just start writing it. I don't really think much about it. I don't know if it's a good habit or if it's a bad habit. I just don't really like waiting. So I just start writing it. And but just like I said, those writing prompts, they're really good. They've helped me a lot during the time where I had finished like a book and I didn't know what to start. So instead of waiting and not writing at all, I just went and wrote like little stories, short stories. And that helped me a lot with like writing skills and just not really sitting there and not doing anything, but just improving your skill. So it will help you a lot, and it won't be a waste of time because you're improving your writing during the time. Yeah, this video is mostly about kind of what I'm kind of experiencing. I'm at peace right now, I think, with my story, and I don't have a lot of confusion. I don't have doubts, none of those things. But just because I kind of wanted to share this feeling, because I just think that after like having those kind of that doubt phase where you're like very confused, you're gonna be at like a peaceful stage as well. Because right now I've like found a story that I like and I can continue writing it and I don't really have any doubts. I like the story, and the story, like the plot, is the most important thing. So I'm thinking about like writing. I'm really thinking about making a video where I'm just sitting there and writing, and yeah, just showing how my writing routine kind of looks like. So without any kind of, yeah, just like plain and simple, because it does not really look as aesthetic as people think it is. Just like a normal like writing routine. I've not really seen much people do like a writing routine where they're like sitting there and writing all the time without any disturbance. But mostly 600 words take me 30 minutes. And if I write more than, no, if I'm gonna write like 1,200 words, then it's gonna take me 1 hour. Is it bad? I don't know. Let's check. Yeah, without planning anything, without knowing what will happen in this specific chapter or scene, just like really. So, I wrote like, is it bad to write 1,200 words in 1 hour? And it generally says no, it's not. It's kind of very normal. So, or not really normal, but just achievable. And I usually like do it without any preparation beforehand, not really knowing what will happen in this specific chapter, just writing and researching during that as well. And if I have any questions, I'm going to go in the other tab and just hope to get my questions. So yeah, that's just how I do it. So yeah, thank you for listening and have a good day.